when they come back to our country, they hardly know any language. Let's say Nyanja, which is the mostly used, Bemba, they'll always be stuck on English. But with this, I'm sure somebody out there is watching and they'll be able to do some research rather, and find out what the greetings are in their mother tongue.
Exactly. So apart from that, it also celebrates cultural identity and heritage, which we should be proud of every time that we open our eyes. Now, who established it? The day was proclaimed by UNESCO in 1999 and has been observed globally since 2000. So it also commemorates the 1952 language movement in Bangladesh, where students in Dhaka protested for the recognition of Bengali as an official language. So several protesters lost their lives, marking the day as a symbol of linguistic rights. Research also shows that learning one's mother to preserve traditions and indigenous knowledge. So now in Zambia, with over 70 local languages, the day highlights the importance of teaching and using languages such as Bemba, Nyanja, of course Tonga, Lozi, Lunda and Kaonde in schools and communities. I have mentioned this because these are the widely spoken languages in Zambia. So yeah, it's indeed a great day to reflect on our mother tongue.
Yeah, for sure.
Unfortunately, the time that I was in school was somewhere in 1964.
What do you mean by 1964?
We didn't have Nyanja as an option.
Oh, yeah?
In 1964.
Oh, okay. That's
in 1964,
good.
I was in grade 11.
1964?
Yeah.
The time that we got our independence?
Yeah.
Wow.
I was one of the freedom fighters.
I see. All right, RHODA. So today, let's take a look at the stories making news this morning. So now, a 20-year-old woman based in Lusaka's domestic worker has been apprehended and handed over to police after allegedly stealing her employer's 1-year, 7-month-old child, 2 refugilators, mobile phones, and a laptop. The employer, who spoke to PTV2 News, said he was elated by his landlord, who had received information that the maid was attempting to sell the stolen items. According to the employer, the suspect reportedly told prospective buyers that she was offering the items at a giveaway price to raise transport money after claiming she had received news that her father had died in Nakonde. Let's take a look at that.
Around 13:45, I just got a call that is from my landlord to say there is a fridge that I've seen at my shop. There is an upright and a deep freezer. So, and people are saying this maid is actually the same one that works for you. But the landlord insisted to say, if you are nearby, I would suggest that you come through so that you come and see for yourself what is happening here. On my way home, I just nearby and just found this lady with my son. That is, I found her with my son. She was just nearby where she actually sold the first fridge, that's the upright, and the deep freezer. I just saw her, I approached her, got my son first of all. I got my son. After getting my son, then I decided to take her to the police, asking her to say, oh, what were you doing? She couldn't even say anything. The only thing that I could get was from the nearby neighbors that suggested that no, this person told us to say she has a funeral. She lost her dad that's in Nakonde, so she was selling everything at a giveaway price so that she finds transport to go to the funeral. She attempted to get the stove as well, but she failed to do it, to disconnect it. So that's how she just managed to get those things. She even got 2 phones and a laptop. And she had gone to pay for a load somewhere in Chazanga, where she intended to do it, to spend the night there. Now I'm just thinking what would have happened to my son, provided that I had not met that lady on my way home. But thank God we have managed to retrieve everything, and as we speak, She has been arrested at Fuankola Police Post.
Right, so that is one of the stories making headlines in our news today. And meanwhile, the Anti-Corruption Commission says it is not currently investigating any minister. Now, speaking during a press briefing in Lusaka, ACC Director General Daphne Pauline Soko said the commission had previously been investigating Copper Belt Minister Elisha Matambo and Ministry of Information and Media Permanent Secretary Thabo Kawana. So now, Ms. Soko says the investigations have since been concluded and both cases closed after no evidence of wrongdoing was established against the two officials. She has further disclosed that investigations involving Solicitor General Marshall Muchende have also been finalized, with the commission determining that there is no case against him. Let's have a look.
Investigations into the allegations of abuse of authority of office against the Solicitor General, Mr. Marshall Muchende, I wish to report, have now been concluded. The investigations established that there was no link of bribery between officials who were named in the complaint and himself. This matter is now closed by the Anti-Corruption Commission. Investigations into the alleged corrupt practices against some Zambia Army and DLS International Limited of Kenya have also been concluded, I'm happy to report. The case involved the awarding of a contract worth $21.2 million by the Ministry of Defense for the supply of equipment and upgrade to Mainasoko Military Hospital. Investigations established that the equipment was actually supplied and received by the Ministry of Defense, albeit lately. The Commission has closed this matter. Investigations into allegations that the Copperbelt Provincial Minister Honorable Elisha Matambo possessed high-value motor vehicles reasonably suspected to be proceeds of crime have established that the high-value motor vehicles were not registered in his name, albeit the park that was being used was his. That matter has since been closed. I also wish to set the record straight regarding the matter involving Mr. Thabo Kawana. The media will recall that the Anti-Corruption Commission gave a report in 2023. The matter was closed then. We see no reason why we should reopen it. With regard to the legal and prosecution matters, I wish to report that through non-conviction-based and conviction-based forfeiture proceedings, the Anti-Corruption Commission forfeited the following properties to the state.
Right, so you're still with us on the Sunrise Breakfast Show on Prime TV2. Do not forget to, come to our comment section on Facebook. That is PTV2 Zambia, the name of the page. Follow, like the page before you start leaving those comments. Don't forget, today is International Mother Tongue Day, and we're still looking for the word sugar in Tonga. So maybe, Carol, have you discovered anything?
Actually, at first I said sugar was Chimbwali, and having Tongas in the building, they came through for me and told me to say it's Kanya Bagala.
Guys.
Kanya Bagala.
Guys.
I don't know the pronunciation. Kanya Bagala. Kanya Bagala.
That word
something like
doesn't
that.
even sound like sugar. How do you, so now how do you, let's say you want to call your husband's name, you want to say sugar. You know how we say it in English?
Yeah, in English.
Hi, sugar.
Hi, sugar.
But then in Tonga.
Hi, Kanya Bagala. Something like that.
All right, so we still have more to come on the Sunrise Breakfast Show and some interesting conversations as well. But obviously, there's quite a number of events that took place today, you know, in the years back. So let's have a look at what we have today in history. All right, welcome back. Now, it has been 4 years and 6 months since the United Party for National Development formed government. With just about 6 months to the general elections, the country is now in evaluation mode. So promises have been made, policies have been implemented, and expectations were very, very high. But the critical question remains, has the UPND delivered in a way that ordinary Zambians can feel and measure? To help us interrogate this, we are joined by governance expert, Mr. Ernest Mumba. Good morning and welcome to the Sunrise Breakfast Show.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
All right, it's good to have you with us this morning.
I appreciate it. It's good to see
All right, now let's start here. In one clear sentence, how would you characterize the UPND's 4.5 years in power? Transformative, corrective, or disappointing, and why?
It's so disappointing. You know, governance is to save people and the interests of people. So far, people have been disappointed because what they were promised is not what they have seen happening under this government. There are a lot of number of issues that we can point at which has not been happening. The economic reforms have not been put in place to impress people's expectations, more especially where prices of commodities are concerned. People have been complaining against the high price of fuel and other essential commodities. Not only that, democracy in our country is shrinking in the sense that people are not able to express themselves, their opinions, due to the fact that this government has put in place cyber law security. That has threatened people not to voice out and hear their views, express their opinions, so that they contribute to the national matters. Yes, so also where the opposition is concerned, opposition is not able to conduct themselves by having free rallies and express themselves, express their manifestos. Way back, we used to observe that opposition could express themselves on even national television, ZMBC, and able to hear their views, their manifesto. But this time around, we see that they are not able to express themselves fully. The other aspect which I can point at is where mining sector is concerned. You know, according to the Section 10 Act of Minerals and Act of Minerals, that Section 10 says Zambians must be prioritized to be given jobs. But this time around, we see that most Zambians, more especially in the copper belt where I'm coming from, are not able to access jobs in the mining sector. And also where awarding of contracts are concerned, most Zambians are not able to access contracts.
Okay, but looking back, what key promises have been fulfilled and which ones largely remain rhetorical?
UPND government has fulfilled free education, of which that free education it also needs some help, in the sense that teachers are able to teach a lot of pupils in a class. Maybe 120 pupils are in one class, which is not supposed to be the case. At least we need to have a number of maybe 40. So that one also needs to be looked at. Government must ensure that they construct more schools, more classes, they expand classes, so that those pupils that are clouded in classes, they are, at least we reduce the crowds of pupils in the class. And also some of the theoretical issues is, like I said, reducing the prices of essential commodities is theoretical. Democracy is theoretical under UPND government. Also, the respecting of rule of law is also theoretical under UPND government. I'm saying this because I've observed that there is no separation of powers. You know, there's what we call separation of power, where executive has no interference in the operations of the judiciary. And also when you talk of parliament, it has been observed that most opposition parliaments are not able to be given chance to express themselves and contribute to the national matters. They are being shut. Their voices are being shut. And not only that, I recall there was a transaction that happened from ZCCM to Delta Mining, 51% without parliamentary approval. So all those, it is something that Zambians were promised, and we saw that we are going to see changes where democracy is concerned, but these are theoretical. Also, economic reforms are theoretical. Prices are still high. When we talk of load shedding, we used to see the UPND government, when you're in opposition, attacking the previous regime where load shedding is concerned. But what we saw is another story, which is regrettable. Most businesses that depends on electricity were not happening because there was too much load shedding, which just ended. Even if it has ended, right now, people are complaining of high prices of electricity bills. You know, they are paying, they are buying expensive power supply. So these are the theories that we are seeing in UPND government.
So are we saying that some of these policies, you know, just sound good on paper, you know, and on the other side, people are still facing a lot of challenges in terms of cost of living and employment and inequality as well, which remains stubborn, obviously?
Definitely. Some of the policies, they just sound good on paper, but there's no that impact to change people's livelihood. I observed where I'm coming from in Copper Belt. People, more especially women and youths, were able to rise early in the morning, queuing to buy cheap meal because the price of meal was high. They could buy meal at 390, 400 kwacha. So they used to go at least to buy meal of which ZNS were able to sell at the price of 250. So that gives an indication that people are suffering, and under microeconomics, which depends on the improvement of individual economics, it's not happening in the market. Why? Because this microeconomics can only be improved at individual level when government under macroeconomics are able to intervene and create an environment which is conducive for small-scale business operators to undertake their business activities. Like, I'll give an example. Somebody who is supplying sausage will not be able to supply sausage to those small-scale sellers. Why? Because of load shedding, which was happening, which was rampant across the country. As a result, I observed practically. I'll give an example. I have a friend of mine in Lusaka, here in Lusaka, who was an industry that produces sausages. So before load shedding, he used to supply 200 kg per week. But after load shedding, he was able to supply the maximum of 30 kg. So that is retrogress in business operation. As a result, even those that are doing small businesses, those that are on the market, are not able to happen. So this is why we are saying the policies of UPND government are good on paper, but they have not yet created an impact. Even kuri namayo uli market uresho msaru.
We have seen that we are no longer talking about the issue of load shedding now. It's probably no longer a topic now. But do we see things changing now that the situation is back to normal?
The situation is not yet back to normal. Load shedding just ended recently, and people have been suffering. The businesses have been shut. Those that were doing saloon are doing saloon, welders, and barbermen. There are a lot of businesses that depends on electricity. So we are coming from a foundation whereby maybe somebody who akwete ida capital yakwe watachite invest, achite expand business. Ida capital yari inwena aridia. Kumrando wakwe wati load shedding yari ileta impact. Ichilonda ngachachitika. It takes time pakwati chipole. So that wound is still there, such that people have not yet recovered from the problem of load shedding. Yeah. Now
let's talk about accountability, Mr. Mumba. Has the UPND government demonstrated a higher standard when it comes to accountability than the previous administrations, or are we simply seeing a different style with similar outcomes?
Okay, it's a different style, but with similar outcome.
Why do you say that?
Okay, like I said, as a leader, as government, we serve the people. And it is people that voice us in power. When people entrust you with power, you need to humble yourself and able to report, give a feedback to the people that entrusted you with power, to say this is what we are doing. You need to understand that the people there who votes us in power have got a big voice. Now, if we who are in government are the ones who are talking and we are not listening from our people, we are not listening from their views, we are not listening from their concerns, it means we are not held accountable of what we are entrusted with. So accountability is not there, because what I've observed is that mostly it is leaders that are able to say, no, we've done this and we are doing this, we have so many MUKWENYAs. But it's about people themselves to give a feedback on what government is doing. What are some of things that they have scored, more especially where economic reforms is concerned. So I think accountability is not that much happening in our country, in the sense that leaders are not able to adhere to the advice of the citizenry, because it's important that the voice of the citizens or the public is considered by government, and the government give a response to say, this is our position. So there must be that collaboration. And also leaders at all levels must go on the ground, have community engagement, sit down with members of the community, listen to them, they air their views, and government must respond positively so that people, they feel that they belong to this country, and people, they feel that we have a meaningful relationship with government, and people understand that, okay, the people that we have put in this position, we've entrusted with power, are responsible and accountable of what we entrusted them with.
Right. Now, would you say that institutions are stronger today, or maybe they are still overly dependent on political goodwill?
They are still dependent on political goodwill. We still need to ensure that we refrain from politics of pointing one another's fingers, so that we save this country. You know, I recall the former president of the Republic of Zambia, Dr. Levi Patrick Mwanawasa, may he so rest in peace, appreciated one day the criticism of President Michael Sata, the late president, the fifth Republican president of Zambia. He appreciated his criticism. It is on public domain. He said, this man helps me to work hard, so that his criticism is enabling me to work hard. So what am I trying to say? Institutions in governments still needs to depend on political goodwill so that they become stronger. So there is a need for us as politicians to understand that our core purpose is to develop this country. It's not to point one another's fingers.
Okay.
So those institutions are not strong because of political games, political mingarato. But when we understand that we are here to save the nation, we make those institutions, government institutions, to be strong, more especially if we have a political goodwill. And this political goodwill, I'm emphasizing, is that we need to come together. We need to love this nation, save this nation as leaders and not politicians. You know, this year is a year of elections, and we are going towards campaigns. After campaigns, we need to come together, whether the opposition or the ruling, collectively come up with policies that will foster development in our country. And like that, institutions will become stronger because we have a common goal. Our fight should not be among ourselves. We should fight against corruption. We should fight against poverty. We should fight against illicit transfer of huge amount of money. Like it has been observed from FIC, that the report from FIC is that by December 2025, there is illicit transfer of close to $3.5 billion. That is 1 trillion, which is not good for our country. And the institution cannot be strong. That's why I call upon government institutions to ensure that they monitor business operations. Those illegal businesses must be stopped so that we have money within our country to security in our nation.
Now, enough about accountability. Let's localize this conversation. You come from Usakile constituency on the Copper Belt, an area that is rich in natural resources. How would you honestly assess development in that area under the UPND government?
You know, there is nothing that is happening in Usakile. There is nothing that is happening in Usakile. And this is one of the reasons why Chari Nkaripasa no kwati lesari mpere chawo pe chawo tungurusha. Chinji mena inewini, okweva ati njimini neko avena Usakile. Pakweva ati ifintu fireka viro kuchitika mu Usakile, mu Chambori, mu Luangwa, na outskirt of Usakile, kuluto, kuli Maposa, fifikirishe. You know, since 1994, when we got independence, I think Usakile has been rejected, has been neglected. There are so many areas murefaika development mu Usakile. Number one, avena Usakile, they don't have amensh, tabakwa tamensh. Imi pipes shaiva blocked. Marasa ngokwati amensh ya kusuwa, udobusari wa kusuwa, udesanka na amensh yo tunwa no kuipikira mu Usakile, which is risking our health. And yet Usakile are located in a city of Kitu. I believe that Kitu is a city which needs vast development. And more especially that we have mining, and we have a company which is very big in Usakile, that is Mopan Mining Company. We need to ensure that avena Usakile bamono kwa tuguteko uresta appreciate inche ndomo na mine. Okude damage. Ama drainages yari ba tayaba well maintained. Imisebo ama insaya yari kwa. Amenshi ya pitafyo mumisebo mayanda yabantu kuti yawanokwa. So there is the need for the people of Usakile okupokerero buya ntanshi barekabira kumulando wakwebati. The other thing imisepera ishingi imisepera tashikwete nchito. There are a lot of youths within the constituents that are lacking jobs. Way back, imisepera sharesta ko depend pari illegal mining activity. By kweteko ila Black Mountain. During MMD, ila Black Mountain, bari apera ko portion, a piece of portion basendako, babombako, namu PF. But this time around, it is another story which is regrettable. Ila Black Mountain na ibongoroka. So imisepera ila mentality bako etoko ati baitwareko pantanshi okupitira mukubombako kumaini filafine tapali this time bare sangwa fiu mukombo. And there is nothing that is happening. Even when we talk of CDF, there is no impact CDF yachita mu Usakile. Tumfuafe mu parliament, we are able to listen from parliament to say there is 38 million. This year, actually it has increased to 40 million.
But what exactly could be the problem? Is it a failure of national policy, local leadership, or maybe systematic governance weaknesses?
It is systematic governance weaknesses. You discover that the decisions where implementation of CDF is concerned are not made by the people that are in the Usakile constituency. The people that makes the decision to implement CDF are not aware of the challenges that people of Usakile are facing today. They are not aware. So there must be a consultative program where you consult the members of the community. Finshifire kabirwa. Finshifire, in fact, uteko ufire ure umfa kubantu. Finshifire kabirwa kubomberapo in this community, in this particular community, in our country. Even as we are going towards elections, we need to understand finshifire abantu bare kabira. So there is no that consultation. People that makes a decision, CDF, they are not on the ground. It's not even a WDC, our Panga decision. As a result, the people who Sakire will only receive, for instance, land cruiser, Yaku police, or ambulance. And yet there are so many issues that are surrounding people of Usakire.
Okay. Now, what specific interventions, of course not slogans, are needed to unlock development in resource-rich but underdeveloped constituencies like Usakile?
Number one, government must quickly intervene in Usakile where health is concerned, because their health is at risk. Recently, I observed at a funeral house in Chambori, ama pipes yarisa tulika, usari waisa isafe pabwe. As a result, that is too risky to human health. So government must intervene quickly to ensure that ubumi waba number one. Because in as much as tuyandokata abantu bekare wino, banamayo bakwate amakwebo, emisepera shikwate nchito, first ichakubalirapo kusakama nobu. Secondly, there is need for skills initiative programs. Since that, there is need now, skills such as how to operate excavators, how to operate other machines in the mines. Also, others, they may have skills such as construction, like welding, bricklaying, plumbing. Such skills will enable them to access jobs at personal level and even opening up their workshops. There is also, in Usakire, in Usakire, Chambori, Luangwa, the entire Usakire constituency, there is no industry, there is no program to do with industry. In fact, not only in Usakire, across the country, I think we need industrialization. Because Avena Zambia this time around, we've got a lot of engineers, we've got a lot of people that are skillful, but they don't have workshops, they don't have industries, they don't have places where they can, express their skills. So there is need for government to also, not only to, way back under Chiluba's government, they brought up about privatization. So I think government must also create certain resources, create certain programs where they raise funds to empower people, to empower women, to empower the vulnerable. Like in Marembeka there, on the market, there are no toilets. Those are public places. So how do people gather in such public places without a toilet? When we go per moment market in Luangwa, there are no toilets. Luangwa Kuine, at the clinic there, which is a government institution, women on the labor ward, they use candles, which is very bad. So government must intervene. This is why we need leaders who are able to take it to heart. But senda kumutima nga ifine chankalipo kwe bati njimi nenga MP mu Usakire constituency kwata bena Usakire bamune obuya ntanshi bareka. Yes, so government must quickly intervene to ensure that imisepera to ashibe fya kushita direct ukwisura ko ama projects up sana. No kubika mo fe industry karamba mu Usakire. That is a city. Kitu is a city. We need an industry. And not only that, Usakire constituency is located along the international road that leads to DRC and the same road that leads to the capital city. So where we are going, I think the city of Kitwe, the town there, it will be congested. So there in Usakire, the government must construct an international, intercity station in Usakire, so that these buses are from Makuma Lusaka, are from Makuma Nakonde, yarefikira pa Usakire. But I'm a local drivers, bambo kutwala abantu ma places up sana sana. Nabari ya mutao, nabari ya kundeke kunkanais, and it will give business to the local drivers. So we need activities, business activities in Usakire that to revitalize the economy in Usakire constituency. Also farmers. Farmers have inadequate farming inputs. Farmers this time they are not performing well. I visited some people in Luto, that is the farmland within the Usakire constituency. They don't have farming inputs. But for Kurima Murembe, they don't have inseke shakuvyara. So there is need for government to ensure that we empower people with farming inputs, even coming up with projects of opening industries that are able to, produce fertilizer. And like that, others will access jobs. There are some youths that have completed grade 12 and have passed grade 12, but they don't have that muscle to go further, for further studies. But I want to verify empowerment to ensure that they also access university and college institutions in order for them to collect their degrees and diplomas so that they access jobs elsewhere.
Now, Mr. Mumba, if you were advising voters today, what questions should they ask themselves before deciding whether the UPND deserves another 5-year mandate?
The number one question that a voter must ask himself or herself is that pain I was feeling, the pain in are yumfa padi load shedding, pakushite fintu ifya dura, is that pain going to be relieved by voting UPND again? And what are the policies, or what is the manifesto, what is UPND saying today in regard to what the pains that I've gone through as a voter? Because so far the UPND has been saying there are so many Kwenyus. Is it true there are so many Kwenyus that have really impacted you as a voter to entrust the same leaders, the UPND government, to continue? Lastly, also the other side, the opposition, what are their policies? What are their manifesto? And do they have capacity to contribute or to change, to revamp the economy? So those are the questions.
All right. Now, finally, Mr. Mumba, the people of Usakile are watching this morning. What do you want to tell them?
Mwena Usakile ineneo Mumba wa bonse. And ichintu chimwe chankaripe sana chakweva ati nshiteme nofo mureikara. Nshiteme nofo mureikara kumurando wakweva ati recently to alistana experience pollution because of what happened in Mwimbula mine. So some toxic chemicals appeared in Kafiweri, and we are drinking, we are using that water. Mkana Water and Storage Company is using that water. Taturi awawomi. Mreka viren tungurushi shaku misaka manangaine. And the chimbi chinto chonde stapi. Nikuri awonse aware mini na pari u kansera, u mayor. Na wonse fi aware mini na pari u MUP, because we have 5 constituencies in Kitwe City, in Kitwe District. Ukwati, ido batu sara, abantu ni wena busakile bansaraini. We need to work together as a team so that we save the people. So I'm here to save the people. I'm not here to just speak anyhow. Number 2, imisepera na mfudisha mwebe kerefye mu market mutapali mu town mutapali ifire chitika kumulando wako atama businesses tare chitika. Ine am a voice to speak for you in parliament to ensure that your needs are met. We need leaders that will prioritize the needs of our people. Tureka vile ntungurushi nendi ntungurushi ule senda ifile kabiro mu usakire ifya paramenshi ifya para emisebo ama drainages bana mayo amachito nama market pada pama market tamude chitika already apo pachambori pali ubusari ifisoso tapali ifile chitike fya koyati kwabo kusaka mano kwati abantu bareka birobu mwarecherera 04 kuya mkutantamina obunga wachipa tureka birobu ya ntanshi and I'm here na sentu bombere chapamo pakoya twinga tware chalo chesu pantanshi. I've got policies that will contribute to the development of this country.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mumba, for coming through to our Sunrise Breakfast show, and thank you for engaging with us this morning.
Thank you.
All right, so we do continue with our Sunrise Breakfast show. For now, we take a short break. We'll be back on the other side. Do stay tuned.
Welcome back, and you are still watching the Sunrise Breakfast Show on PTV2 Zambia. And to continue with the news headlines, in Eastern Province, an elderly woman of Chakata village in Chief Mangala's area of Chadiza district has died after allegedly being buried alive in an unfinished pit latrine by her two grandsons. who suspected her of practicing witchcraft. The deceased, identified as Tisienji Sakala, was allegedly attacked by Silenci Banda, aged between 25 and 30, and Joseph Banda, aged between 15 and 20, of both Chataika village. Eastern Province Police Commanding Officer Robertson Mwemba says the suspects accused their grandmother of being responsible for the prolonged illness of their sister, Agnes Sakala, aged between 30 and 40. Christopher Basilio Banda has the details.
Two grandsons of Chataika village in Chief Mwangala's area of Chadiza district, Eastern Province, have gruesomely murdered their grandmother, believed to be in her 80s, on suspicion of practicing witchcraft on their sister, who is alleged to have been sick for some time now. The two are alleged to have buried the woman in an unfinished pit latrine using hoes and shovels in full view of some community members while armed with an axe. Village headman for the neighboring Kapereke village, Elas Banda, explains the incident.
Ngozi imwe inachitikadi chama 16 hours irotamangira 17 hours. Amene anapedwa abana mbuye bawo babana kulingana ni mnongosi wawo aludwala ndiye aba ndiwaluganiziridwa kuti ndiwo anapereka matenda kapena olodza mnongosi wawo. So nchifukwa chake abalumbwana banakwiya mpaka na ufika poti azirankhulana nawo ndiye mpaka na upsetsa na mtima ufika pakuti abatenge ukabaponya mdzenje la chimbudzi icho chinali chosamangira chosatseka changoonetsa chabe dzenje. So anango vakankhiramo chabe ali wa moyo ena akanuikapo vitsamba pamwamba basi mpaka na uyambotira doti na makasu na mashavelo.
Eastern Province Police Commanding Officer Robertson Mwemba confirmed the incident.
A lady of over 80 years, our grandmother, was buried alive by two of his grandsons, suggesting or accusing the old lady that she was behind the sickness of her granddaughter, in this case with the sister to the two that are on the run. So the lady was picked and dumped into a pit latrine and buried there. So people were wandering and they were armed with an axe.
Mr. Mwemba has however advised members of the public to avoid taking the law into their own hands.
Now, are we saying people should not get old? Immediately you have gray hair, that means now you are subjected to become a witch or a wizard. Far from it. I think we need the sensitizing these young ones that for somebody to reach that age, that means the Lord is with you. The two are on the run now. At some stage also they will get old. We are not going to condone that as police.
The two men, identified as Silence Banda and Joseph Banda, are currently
should not get old. Immediately you have gray hair, that means now you are subjected to become a witch or a wizard. Far from it. I think we need the sensitizing these young ones that for somebody to reach that age, that means the Lord is with you. The two are on the run now. At some stage also they will get old. We are not going to condone that as police.
The two men, identified as Silence Banda and Joseph Banda, are currently on the run. Christopher Basilio Banda, Prime TV News in Chipata, Eastern Province.
Right, welcome back. Now, Marcus Sakubita reports that a 36-year-old divorced mother of 5 from Mongo district in Western Province has appealed to well-wishers and the government for help after falling into severe hardship. Nasilele Lutangu of Katoya village told Prime TV2 News that her life took a difficult turn following the collapse of her 9-year marriage, leaving her alone to care for her and her 5 children with nowhere to turn to. Orphaned at a young age, Miss Nasilele says she has no parental home to rely on for support. Let's have a look.
This is the new home for the 36-year-old Nasilele Lutangu of Katoya village in Mongo district. After being married for 9 years, Nasilele's marriage fell apart when her husband abandoned her and their 5 children. Left with no choice, Nasilele returned to her parents' village to start over again. However, lack of decent shelter has been a constant challenge for her. During heavy rainfalls, water from above the slope floods Nasilele's house, leaving her and her children vulnerable. She is now reaching out to well-wishers for assistance in building a safe and secure home for her and her children.
Nduye ainelanga pula mezi kaufela azwanga kwa limu kwa kafato felanga mwandu yaka kumbwambwa manga kona kwini bana bakaluna ndi kululobalanga andi mezi kafa kutotalanga mwandu azo kwa kaufela totalanga fasi baka mwandu yakamo upiro bwaka kiwo buyinyana ni bukwanzeza ande nani bana bafa bichene ni kupaluli kwa asicha bakuba bakona kulukwela makeke balutuse kwa tendo ziyeleile.
Neighbors described Nasilele's situation as heart-wrenching, appealing to well-wishers to lend a helping hand.
Mwana yo wanyanda luna ni luna hauna zirunani kono mane luliela ena kambe una zirunani kambe wakona kumutusa kona una zirunani manyando hae kikuli ndu ya hae foinzi pula hainela meza hata ashiru mkakafa ataela ni muvu ni mezi atokenela mwandu mezi hao muvuo kafa utoshite kandu ya hae kuinwelisa kulimane ndu ya hae kuswani kale bakala muvuo oto ivundeka mezi atoema mwateni kuweza ngimwalisima mwenela pula kafela upila kuyema ni bana bahai
ndu ya hae muhola itibira ape ni mezi azwelelanga kwa ngambamo kwa mkwakwa pula inelanga bapilanga kuyemanga fela ona chwalo kufitela pula fe yo kalela kakuli mezi atanga huluka bungata loli ndu yateni neli ndu yetelele kono fase ibonisa kulizama enge pumbakiwa.
They acknowledge her strength and determination in providing for children, but emphasize the urgent need for a stable living condition.
Kuipula fae kanela metakato na mateni upila kuyemanga fela na chwalo kuyema fancho planga nila faki planga choko na kufumana hakuli ubona kumwana na uziele hile ntwali kuzwa kwa manyalo hae kafa apelu unaba shemba hae nuna unandiro kuno kumutusa kazona.
As the sun sets, Nasilele's nights are spent in sleepless worry about what the future holds. For Prime TV News in Mongo District, Marcus Bransakwita reporting.
Welcome back. We do appreciate your company. Now, President HAKAINDE HICHILEMA will today address Parliament on progress made in upholding national values and principles. Of course, this address will bring real accountability. And people are asking themselves, is this just a report or, of course, will it bring real accountability? To help us unpack this, we are joined by Mr. Leslie Chikuse, who is the president of Republican Progressive Party. Good morning and welcome to the Sunrise Breakfast Show.
Since assuming office, one of President Hichilema's resolve has been to restore order and the rule of law. The president says his administration will continue with its policy of zero tolerance to political violence, hate speech, and cadreism. This was when President Hichilema addressed the nation on progress made in the application of national values and principles in Parliament.
Intolerant to political violence, to hate speech, to negative cadreism. These are vices. These vices have no space in our society. And all of us here and outside of this house today must make it personal that anyone conducting themselves in this way must be taught in their eyes and straight.
President Hichilema is pleased with the growth of the media industry owing to the liberal policies of his administration.
Unlike before, I am proudly saying here, no media house has been shut down under this government. Not a single one, Madam Speaker, unless they've just failed to run their business from the commercial side. We should, however, be mindful, Madam Speaker, that where one's freedom ends, another person's freedom starts. Very important. Let us therefore be responsible in exercising our freedoms in order to maintain the peace, harmony, and unity which our beautiful country is renowned for. I must say here, Madam Speaker, the country's
administration, and he has resolved to reinforce measures to address this going forward. Sharon Siame, ZNBC News, Lusaka.
Now, that was the previous address President Hichilema made to Parliament. Very interesting. That was last year on the 28th of February, courtesy of the national broadcaster ZNBC. Now, I do have Mr. Leslie Chikose with me this morning. Good morning. Are you still with us?
Good morning. Yes, I'm still here. Thank you.
All right. Now, there you have it. We did see some interesting remarks from that particular short clip. What do you make of President Hichilema's, address to Parliament last year? Some of your reflections from that.
Yes. First and foremost, I think it is very critical to understand the importance of this day. The day being National Day in which the President is more or less compelled by the Constitution to discuss matters and progress in national values and principles. So this is a constitutional matter. It is not a matter which is just planned by a few people because maybe they think it is important, but it is actually a matter which compels the President to give to the citizens the progress made by his administration on national values and principles. So I just thought that this is very important for people to understand. And basically, when the President is speaking, he is reporting to the Zambian people because of what is ordained in the Constitution. So when you look at the issues that were discussed, which the President discussed in the last address, he did mention matters to do with hate speech, tribalism. He did talk about colorism. And I'm sure these are matters that have been well addressed by the citizens themselves through reporting to the police on matters, because he did allude to the fact that anyone who is found doing this, the citizens must take interest. So we have seen, of course, those that unfortunately have found themselves, involved in this hate speech. Most of them are in the courts trying to defend themselves. Others have already been imprisoned and so on. And this is an issue where the President has got no way out, because if the law enforcement agencies don't do that, then he has to report that, yes, there was hate speech, there was tribalism, but we did not do anything. So as he is reporting, he must say the progress is been that the law enforcement agencies have investigated some matters are still in court, some matters are... So he is reporting to you, who is seated in your office, you, the marketeer, who is in the market there. He's reporting to the drivers, he's reporting to the farmers that this is what has happened when it comes to, matters to do with guidance on ethics and so national values. So I think that is important. He did tolerate people that want to divide this country on tribal lines. That we must not tolerate. Not even 1%. There are intermarriages, the Bembas, they marry the Tongas. We don't go and say, no, before I marry you, can you tell me? And no. We just marry because we feel that we are one people. And those people who are involved in hate speech, who spend their time on social media insulting people, they are insulting, and not, this time around the insulting is the actual insulting, speaking of serious insults on serious people. So I'm sure he's going to talk about the introduction of the cyber bullying act and many other pieces of legislation that have been put in place, but also the fact that we have some people who somewhere coming from the diaspora, others from within Zambia, that have actually been caught wanting by the law enforcement, not by President HAKAINDE, but by the law enforcement agencies following the constitutional requirement that there must be report on progress on matters of national values and progress. So I think that's
right,
more important.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Mr. Chikuse. But I'll kindly ask
back a little because we can't see you clearly in the camera. Okay, thank you so much for that. Now, today, the president will be back to address Parliament on national values and principles. What should Zambians listen for to know that this address is about real accountability and not just another routine report? What should Zambians, look out for in this particular report?
Yes, so I think last year he emphasized on the issues to do with tribalism, issues to do with hate speech, issues to do with colorism. I think there's been a lot of progress that has been made. If you look at the bus stations now, there are no people who are trying to get money from marketeers. There are no people who are, beating up people in the markets. And when you look at tribalism, as I had stated, most of the people have been arrested and, others are in court. Others were thinking that they were in the diaspora, no one was going to catch up with them. They were found just immediately. They were trying to get into the country and they were arrested. But this time around, I think the president will speak to the economic achievements that have been made by the UPND government and how citizens ought to harness and take advantage of the economic progress that have been made in the mining, that have been made in the free education and so on. What is it that the citizens must look out to? The do's and don'ts. So I'm sure the president will be speaking to issues of illegal mining and talking to issues of how citizens could actually mine in a legal manner. Because as you saw that the KCM did announce, I think there was an announcement, of course, by government that there's going to be an opportunity for citizens to actually sell minerals to the government directly and thereby give foreign exchange. So I think that that window is one area where the president will be able to emphasize to say, okay, we are not going to tolerate illegal mining, because when you engage in illegal mining, we hear citizens have died because they are not protected and so on, and we are seeing these foreign entries that are coming in and it's not clear. But we are going to ask you to make cooperatives, and when you make cooperatives, we teach you artisanal mining, and then you'll be protected, given machinery, and you can mine and sell to your government and make ends meet. I think that's a very important conversation. But also, what is it that the city? What is the role of the citizens? Where we are moving from economic stability to economic growth. So the role of the parents who are supposed to wake up their children and take them to a government school to make sure that they get into a classroom. The role of a teacher or a head teacher who is going to make sure that he does not charge the parents for taking their children to school. That is one area which the president, I think, will be talking to. the zero tolerance to corruption. The president obviously will emphasize on the position that has been properly outlined in the manifesto of the UPND, that there is zero tolerance to corruption, and obviously he will talk about the establishment of these committees that are supposed to be established to make sure that there is no corruption and so on, and also the whistleblower who are supposed to make sure that they go. So I think he's going to talk about, but he's going to re-emphasize, because we are going to the 2026 elections, that as we go to the 2026 elections, we must carry ourselves with modest. That let's not involve again in mudslinging, in abnormal propaganda, hate speech, and also that there must be no violence. So we are going to, obviously, we expect the president to talk about the issues of no tolerance to violence or cadarism, and that people must behave themselves in a proper proper manner. So we also expect the president to talk about democracy, the thriving democracy, to talk about the equitable distribution of resources, the role of the church as we are going towards 2026 elections. What role? The church must not be used for political emancipation, but they are our guiding fathers. The role of the chiefs, who are supposed to continue to guide their subjects to behave themselves in a peaceful manner, so that our country continues to be the beacon of peace in Africa. So these are some of the issues that we expect.
Okay. All right. Now, Mr. Chiku says Zambia is
declared a Christian nation. You spoke about corruption earlier. There's still a lot of corruption, political intolerance, violence, and also moral decay still remains persistent from what we have seen. At what point do we admit that invoking religion has failed to translate into ethical leadership and responsible citizenship?
Come again with your question.
That Zambia was declared a Christian nation, yet corruption and political intolerance, speak of violence and moral decay, remain persistent from what we have seen. At what point do we admit that invoking religion has failed to translate into ethical leadership and responsible citizenship?
Okay. So, yes, I do agree. There are still some elements of corruption, and these are the matters that we are seeing. Of course, the government having been very committed to fighting corruption, both for people who are in the current government and the people that were out in the other government. We have seen some cases of corruption where convictions have been the state has managed to go, to secure convictions, but in some cases, through the section, 18 or presumption of innocence, others have come out, they've been acquitted, and the state has still managed to try and appeal. So yes, there is still some corruption, but the vice of corruption needs concerted effort from you, the media. You, the media, are very important, because you need to exercise investigative journalism. If there is no investigative journalism, it is very difficult for the media, for the public to be aware about people who are corruption. Corruption will just be something that will just be discussing that there is corruption. We need you, the journalists, to enter in areas which are not known to be entered by normal citizens. You go there, take the photos, when people are exchanging, whether it is money, we have seen some of you journalists have made quite effort. I remember when there was matters to do with COVID-19, we saw you journalists going and actually catching those nurses or those doctors or whoever were trying to get money when they wanted to get free vaccination. So the role of the citizens, whistleblowers, who when they hear that people are involved in corruption, they must go there and tell the investigative wings at these people. So it takes concerted effort. Yes, government has put in place policies, the whistleblower, the integrity committees, and so on. But I think that it is the media, especially the media, have got a very important role because they know how to get the information. And that is why we want. When it comes to cadarism, I think, yes, there may be one or two, but I think we can safely say that there is a reduction. Maybe from 100%, we can say now maybe we are at maybe above 80%. We have done very well in terms of fighting this cadarism in the markets, the violence, and so on. But yes, we did see in Kasama where a vehicle was interrupted because there were pangas and so on and so forth. And obviously, the presumption was that those pangas were supposed to be used. But I think that the president's address today will be to emphasize that these vices cannot be tolerated, both from the opposition, from the ruling party, from ordinary citizens who are, trying to involve themselves in these, vices. And it is not because the president alone wants to do that. It is because the Constitution is saying that cannot be done. And you, because you are the head of state, according to the Constitution, can you tell us, can you tell your people what progress have you made in national values, equitable distribution of resources, tribalism? What is happening when it comes to matters of violence? What is happening? So he has to address, and I'm sure that because it's compelled. But also, I think the area that the president will look at is the issues to do with the new electoral system, which has created opportunities for you, the women, the youth, and people living with disability to be part and parcel of parliament. A self-inclusive process that is going to create, meeting the international standards. I think this is also an area which the president may most likely may emphasize, that when we talk about self-regulation, the president and the government, the Zambian people have given unto themselves Article 13 of the Constitution that is now giving mandatory 20 women in parliament, mandatory 13 women, 15 youths in parliament, 5 people living with disability. So I think that is to meet with the international standards. I think the president will also discuss that and how best political parties can make sure that they pick the right people and that these people are harnessed in parliament. We don't want, when the youths are going there, those veterans who are been in parliament for a long time, instead of beginning to teach them and mold them into becoming better youths, but trying to allow them to make mistakes. We don't want that, because the Zambian people...
Thank you so much for that, Mr. Chikuse. Now, let's...
the politically sensitive issue of defections. Now, with only a few months to the general elections, we are seeing a surge of opposition members of parliament seeking to join the ruling party and its alliance partners. Is this a sign of confidence in governance, or a collapse of political ideology in Zambia?
Yes, I think that's a very important question. And it becomes very important that because we are now in the 180 days in which members of parliament can actually cross over without having to create a by-election. So it is we have reached a position where now members of parliament have to decide. They are the people who make laws. They are the people who see these documents before an ordinary person sees the documents. So now we are remaining with 180 days. And now they've got the right to make decisions. How has the government, the current government, performed? Do we still need to belong to the opposition? Or maybe we need to now consider joining the ruling party? Yeah, democracy being what it is, and the freedom of association, political leaders are free to join political parties of their choice. And I think that from what is going on, looking at the economic trajectory, the economic fundamentals, the exchange rate, that is the most happening currencies, the kwacha being the most exchanged, the increase of the CDF from 1.6 to 40 million, the reduction in the electricity, which is the load shedding, the reduction in load shedding, the recruitment of more than about 50,000 teachers and so on. And then the opposition will evaluate and say, why should I not support this government? So yes, after these 180 days, that has, of course, we are likely to see more opposition joining the ruling party, which is the UPND and the alliance partners. And this is because that is what the status quo is. The country is in the right trajectory. There is more possibility of growth in the UPND government, and no member of parliament is going to be thinking of going backwards. We can't do a Dununa reverse. We can't do another Dununa reverse and take the country in the backward trajectory. So there will be no experiments, both for members of parliament, for councillors. We have seen councillors in Kasama. They have, and they are not. I don't want to call it defecting. They are just basically joining the right political party, which is more viable. And we have seen, of course,
how do you explain this?
Citizens who believe elections should be about policy and principles, not proximity to power.
Yeah, yes, you cannot separate proximity to power and principles, because we are talking about the president is going to be addressing the nation on national values and principles and the progress. And if the citizens are saying, yes, the UPND has made progress, there's no cadarism in the markets, people are not being beaten the way they used to be beaten, and those are the principles, those are the national values. If we are saying, yes, there's equitable distribution of wealth, the corruption index is showing that we are reducing in a little bit, the economy is growing, there's free education, which is everybody is getting. Those are the principles. So when people are joining the government, like the UPND now, and it is because their principle is stating that this is the right direction. And so, yes, democracy entails that you choose between political parties. But if there is only one political party that is performing, you cannot just go and choose a political party that is doing nothing because of its democracy. No, you have to, and when you are choosing, you are not choosing only for yourself, you are choosing for your sister, you are voting or moving because of your brother, your children. So you can't be selfish and say, no, just because of democracy, I'm going to support a party XYZ, even if the ruling UPND is performing. No. That is lack of objectivity. An objective leader will evaluate the economic, social, political situation and say, this is the right direction. And then they will definitely support that direction.
But also what?
And to young people when leaders switch sides, especially at the last minute for political survival?
I think it sends a good message that it's better to be on the side of progress, and that in a competition there is winning and losing. But especially when you are talking about governance, you should not, it's not an issue of even when there is progress, I should belong to this. It's not, in a marriage, there is what we call Shipikisha Club. Even when you are being beaten by your husband, because the vows that you made on that marriage day and that ring, you are being beaten, you are just looking at the ring which was given, and you are imagining the past that no. You must be able to say, no, this is not the position or the right direction. I'm not supposed to be beaten. And also, I just want to emphasize that also one of the issues that we expect the president to talk about are issues of gender-based violence. That is one area which I think the president will also emphasize, and also intermarriages. Early marriages. Yeah, so the children are supposed to, are being taught to make decisions, to be decisive, not to be, on the fence where you are not able to make a decision, to be decisive and making decisive decisions objectively, looking at what is prevailing in the situation. I'm trying to avoid talking about the opposition and how disoriented, how they have failed to come up with leadership, how they have failed to come up with alternative, opportunities for others to consider them for leadership. I think my role is doing that is attracting citizens to it, and to try and by all means to avoid talking about our friends failing to. But also one area I think I want to emphasize on, which the president must talk about, is the agency of our colleagues that are delaying the process of government to give the 6th Republican President Edgar Chagwa Lungu, a befitting burial. I think the president will have to talk about that. 8 months has gone, and our friends are still confusing the family of late President Edgar Chagwa Lungu, and we have not been able, Zambians have not been able to bury their 6th Republican president. And the issues to do with national unity, when matters like this happen, the importance of national unity. So these are some of the issues that we expect.
All right, Mr. Chikuse.
Few words. I think we do not have time on our side. What clear, transparent criteria will the UPND and its partners use to adopt candidates for the 2026 elections? And will loyalty, integrity, and service matter more than political convenience?
So we are going to listen to the cry of the masses. That is the criteria that we are going to use as a UPND. So there will be nothing like me, because loyalty, yes, very important. Loyalty to the people, because if you are loyal to a government, a government like the President HAKAINDE HICHILEMA, you are loyal to it means that you must be loyal to the people, because the president is the president of all Zambians. So yes, loyalty, not only to the party, and then you are just using the party for other illegal things, but loyalty to the president and loyalty to the people. So when we are going to be adopting people, we are going to listen to the voices of the masses. What kind of leader do people want? Then we'll evaluate these people based on how they are going to equitably give the CDF, what innovation, what plans can they work for the people? Are the people interested in this? Yes, so political party, and that is why our position, especially us as Republican Progressive Party, that even when we talk about the mixed proportional representation, where the president is, where the presidential vote is what is being used to consider the mixed proportional representation, we do not accept that the issues of democracy in choosing the list should be what should be determined. The president must be allowed to choose leaders from across the country, even those leaders who are not in the party, who have not participated in intra-party, elections. So maybe just because of time, the UPND Alliance will consider cross-sector. and I just want to emphasize, the UPND alliance is not just an alliance of political parties. No, we had members who were in the Council of Presidents. A very good example is KBF. KBF was a member of the UPND alliance before he even had a political party. So the UPND alliance is a formation of both political parties, the church, the marketeers, the farmers. And so we cannot just be saying when we are adopting, we adopt ourselves as political. No. We are going to adopt people from the wide sector. So you could have been a loyal member of the party, hardworking, but sometimes if you are not, fitting well in the community because of one or two reasons, you must go and campaign for that one who is going to be adopted. So adoption, we are going to have a proper adoption system which will be inclusive. Of course, political parties in the alliance will be part and parcel of the adoption process, but we are going to choose people from all walks of life without just restricting it to those that are in a political party.
So much, Mr. Chikuse, for your time and for engaging with these difficult but necessary questions. We do appreciate your candid insights and look forward to hosting you again on our program as the country moves closer to the general elections. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prime TV, RHODA. Thank you so much to the, viewers, and please, as we go towards the 2026 elections, let us remember no violence. Let's keep our peace. Let us be modest, and let's move forward together to make sure that His Excellency President HAKAINDE HICHILEMA retains as president, so that we now look at further progress from the already made progress. We thank you.
Move on with our Sunrise Breakfast show. Let's take a look at some teasers. We'll be back shortly on the other side.
Pure, proudly Zambian.
Welcome back, and you are watching the Sunrise Breakfast Show, and we are coming to you live on Topstar Channel 110 and streaming on our Facebook page, PTV2 Zambia, and YouTube, which is ptv2zambia.com. Now, a herd of elephants has returned to Livingstone, sparking fear and panic among residents. Traditionally, the elephants migrate to Zimbabwe and Botswana during the rain season before returning when the rains subside. However, this year, the Jumbos have come back much earlier than expected. Raising safety concerns in nearby communities, the early return has revealed painful memories of last year, when several people, including children, lost their lives after elephants strayed into residential areas last year. In some instances, residents attempted to chase the elephants away by throwing objects at them, a move that further escalated the danger. We're now joined by Elvis Siafwimba, a concerned resident of Siakuvita Township in Livingstone. Good morning, Mr. Elvis, and welcome to the Sunrise Breakfast Show.
Bushe mwalikwata Topstar decoder. Bushe mwalishiwa kutila kutimwatamba Prime TV2 Zambia pa channel 110 nga chakutila mlefu okumfwa amadiashi ayalekanalekana okufuma kunchende ishapusana. Bakanyekanye mukumipekanisisha amadiashi konse kuntumletu mfuila maliba abaiteanya inshita yonse kumulabasa wenu wa Prime TV2. Prime TV2 omulabasa wenu kumadiashi nembila nsuma mumishi yenu.
All right, you're still watching the Sunrise Breakfast Show right here on Prime TV2. And of course, we will be getting back to that conversation later on as we move on with the program. We just did have a conversation with Mr. Leslie Chikose, and of course, just updating us on some of the things to expect from President HAKAINDE HICHILEMA's address to Parliament this morning, as he will be, talking about issues to do with national principles and every other thing that we obviously want to hear from the President as he addresses the nation and Parliament this morning. Some of the things that Mr. Chikose did highlight on is the issue of cadreism and, of course, moral decay that he did speak about, that the President did speak about last year. And Mr. Chikose gave us a highlight of the progress that has been made so far. He did give an insight of some of the cases that have been reported to the police, including the issues to do with gender-based violence. And he also emphasized that the President will be addressing that and so much more of related issues this morning.
Yes, indeed. So we continue with today. We ended on the sugar language and how today
being International Mother Tongue Day, obviously we were given one word, but have you come up with other words, in your language? I think you speak a very interesting language. What language do you speak?
I mostly use Lenje.
Lenje.
Yes,
so
that's
what do you call
tongue.
Sugar in Lenje?
As I said earlier, I think I've forgotten.
Wow.
Yeah. I've forgotten how to, speak, use. Yeah.
All right, so we'll be having some more interesting conversations. Just to take you back, we also did speak to Mr. Ernest Mumba, who is, of course, a governance activist, and he's got some interesting, interests in standing as a member of parliament. He also did, highlight a few challenges that Usakile is facing at the moment. One of them being unemployment. Even though, Usakile is very rich in resources, they still face issues to do with unemployment. And he also did make mention that the government needs to intervene because the people that are unemployed would, you know, start resorting to bad vices just to keep themselves busy. And of course, he also did highlight the issue of young people, that we need to be vigilant when it comes to selecting the right leaders, especially as we head towards the general elections. What have you noticed so far when it comes to young people making decisions, especially in terms of voting and just electing the right leaders in their communities and, you know, the general elections as well?
One thing that I've noticed when it comes to young people, because they're looking forward, they want change, they want employment, they also want to like have proper jobs. So I feel like they are too naive and they follow whoever calls onto them because they want to get that job for greener pastures. As we can see, the cost of living is really high, and in order for you to sustain yourself as well, it is really difficult. So I think it will run in that way.
Do you think we're still facing the challenge of us as young people just not being interested in voting, or the process itself, or not just wanting to learn about the voter process or why it's important to be part of the election process?
Well, speaking of being part of the election, the processes and stuff like that, it's like you've had enough of something. You've been promised to say, okay, RHODA, I'll get you something if you do this. And in the actual sense, when that time comes in, you forget about all the promises that were given to you. And for that, it will give you that thing of not wanting to participate anymore because of all those fake promises that were made. I don't know if I can call them fake promises. You can even relate. I talk of, let's say, RHODA, if you help me to do this, I will give you a certain amount. And then that time comes, you call on me and to say, Carol, I need you to help me with some financials here and there. You're even saying to say, I'm well to do, all right with my financials. And then getting back to you, I'm like, you know what, I cannot help you. I cannot come to your aid. And in the actual sense, you're seeing me, you know, living the life that I'm living. So it won't give you the morale, you know, to want to help me next time when I come in to you, you know, to ask for your help. And in relation with the election that is going on, we saw a lot of people, a lot of youths actually were told to say they'll be given employment and they'll have all the jobs that they've ever wanted. But it just ended in words. Nothing was implemented. So I feel like that's why people are lazing around and all the youths are not participating in when it comes to elections.
All right, now moving on, obviously in our sports news, Copper Queen's assistant coach Charles Haluono says the team started the COSAFA title defense the right way with a 3-0 win over Botswana at the old Peter Mokaba Stadium. Now reacting to Zambia's victory during a post-match press conference, Haluono said the focus was to win the first game and take control of Group B in, of course, the Holy Wubets COSAFA Women's Championship 2025 in Polokwane, South Africa. So Haluono explained that the team followed the plan and, of course, they did play well. He also said that the players were disciplined, kept possession, and, of course, they utilized their chances. So now he also did say the first thing that they planned to say in this first game, that they should get the maximum points so that they are in control of the group, and it has also worked for their advantage. And so Haluono said despite Zambia's win over Botswana, defended well, they stayed compact and moved as a unit, which made it quite hard to attack through the middle. He also said that Zambia had to use the wingers and play wide to create opportunities. He also did add that the tournament is helping Zambia to prepare for the Women's Africa Cup of Nations, hence the need for the team to keep performing and, of course, continue collecting points. And player of the match, NLS Piri, said she was happy with her with her performance. And of course, you know, the coach also did express excitement in terms of the win. So we are looking at that and so much more in our sports news this morning. But of course, I am joined by JC, who is going to be giving us more details on what exactly has been happening in the world of sport. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah?
Did you watch the game?
No, I did not.
But you're happy that Copper Queens won?
But I did see the highlights. Yes, I was happy that we
Yeah,
won.
highlights is watching.
Of course, those are
you don't
girls.
have to watch the whole game.
Not watching the highlights, you know, reading about the highlights.
The highlights, oh yeah.
Because I always get my news from, is it Zamfoot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. That's nice. Wow. You explained well how
I
the
did.
coach talked about the game, the reading
I
of the
love
game.
it when the girls play and they win. You know?
It's amazing,
Girl
isn't it?
power.
All right, so we start with a lot more that is happening in as far as you remember that we've been talking about the beach volleyball. You understand how it's played?
Yeah.
In the beach, you're playing volleyball and everything, it's all sand and everything, yeah. So it is in Namibia, and it's KVB Zone 6 games that are happening, and of course it's just a zonal. So basically they're just trying to qualify, and so many things that are happening. And the good part is, and I'm pretty sure that a lot of complaints that comes from these teams that participate in so many games that we play, especially outside Zambia, that comes up. We say, you know, they didn't acclimatize, they didn't have much time to rest. But for this team, they do have a lot of time to rest. They've been in, they're already in Namibia, and today is just registration. They're not playing any games. So basically, it's a good time for them to get acclimatized, understand the weather, sightseeing today as they are really getting into the games tomorrow and Sunday. So Zambia should win all the games that they're playing. We've got so many teams there that are trying to get into, into the big one. So basically, this is a zonal. The first games are very, very important. Points are very, very important. And one important thing is one of the Zambian athletes have been picked, or one administrator has been picked as one of the referees or umpire, so to speak. So it's going to be amazing to have that, and it's a great thing. And away from volleyball, and all the best to the team that is in Namibia, despite the fact that they traveled by road. Obviously, it's amazing to travel by road.
Absolutely. Now, of course, away from volleyball, another interesting story is that the Zambia Futsal national team has actually qualified for the 2026 Africa Cup of Nations after defeating Ghana. So, of course, the team has now returned to the domestic league with their first match played yesterday between CSS Petauke and Kafue Celtics. So now CSS Petauke, of course, dominated the game, winning 12-4 against Kafue Celtics, adding fixtures, adding additional, fixtures which are scheduled for this evening and Saturday as well. So something interesting to look out for.
Yeah, very interesting, especially that. When they qualified, we were all happy to see some of the teams that have qualified. They're in the top 8 of teams in Africa that have qualified to the Africa Cup of Nations. Some of those names are Zambia, Tanzania. You remember that Tanzania, nobody expected them to qualify this time around. They did. Egypt is one of the teams that have been perpetually qualifying to the Africa Cup of Nations. Mozambique, a powerhouse in as far as the futsal is concerned. Morocco, miles apart with every other team that is around, because obviously they are counted amongst the best teams globally. So this is a team that beats the likes of Spain and the likes of Brazil. And when you beat Brazil, you are really up and about, and you're really doing great in as far as futsal is concerned. What they've done, Morocco, they've done tremendously well, including infrastructure. And that's the reason why you've seen so many tournaments this year. And last year they were hosted by Morocco. And even this tournament is going to be hosted by Morocco in April. And then we've got Libya, fantastic team as well in as far as futsal is concerned. We've got Angola, big team. And Angola has been beating us like perpetually, so we need to really go and do better.
Very strong team.
Yeah, very strong team. Very strong team. And then we have Algeria, another strong team. And Algeria have qualified for the first time though, but I think they're really a good team. All these teams really have qualified, the 8 teams that have qualified to the Africa Cup of Nations. and they only have between now and April for them to get ready. And that's the reason why we've got the domestic league, and some of the games that we can look out for is Kitwe Bullets versus Moody Stars. It's a big game for this weekend, and everybody else will be looking forward to watching this game. It's at 16 hours at the same stadium, of course, indoor or automotive indoor stadium or courts. That's where it's going to be. So another some of the other games that will be played. The first game was played today. We do have 2 games that will be played, and then Saturday we have some other games that will be played. So obviously it's going to be amazing to watch all these games played and what is going to come out of these games.
Yeah.
And getting into the MTN Fast Super League, before we get to the MTN Fast Super League, we do have one beautiful thing that should be happening, and this is what ZRA have done. And the Invoice basketball tournament that will be happening, so many teams that will be participating in this tournament at NASDAQ Sports Complex. That's today. So for those of you who'd like to go and watch, the games are already there. They will be starting. Those are the fixtures. So many great fixtures. These are the teams that will be participating in this tournament. And a lot of money that is involved, by the way. And you know one thing that we were even talking about, if you've got a team that is participating in this tournament, if you don't have an account, you're not going to be given money.
Oh.
Yeah, because it's the sponsors. They talk about money. And you know, this is ZRA. They talk about every single thing that should be happening in an institution, in a business institution. So giving money to an individual is not going to happen. And in most cases, they're used to getting money from the pocket. Oh, the chairman get the money, and they enjoy. But this time around, it's an account. So every team has been told to create an account, and they should know about tax, and they should know about a lot of things. So it's about lessons as well in as far as tax is concerned. Financial discipline, yes. So it's a lot of things. It's not just basketball, as they are calling it, Smart Invoice tournament that is going to be happening. So they will be learning a lot of things. So it will happen up to Sunday. Which games would you want to go and watch? It's NASDAQ.
NASDAQ?
Yeah.
I'll follow your program.
It's amazing. We've got so many things to do this weekend, and we should be hoping to go and watch some of these games. And coming to the MTN Fast Super League, you remember that I was talking about this game?
Yes.
Like between Zanaco and Zesco United.
Yes.
So much to talk about because we only had one team that was supposed to qualify for ABSA. And if Zesco United lost this game, Moza FC was going to qualify.
Exactly.
So the first half of the season, about 17 games, that constitutes the first half of the season. So Zesco United had the game in hand because of continental games and commitment that they had. So they remained with Zanaco. So they were hoping to beat Zanaco and get into continental or to ABSA Cup, and they did. And remember that Zesco United are the defending champions for ABSA. So qualifying or winning for them was really great, and they're among these teams that have qualified, the 7 teams that have qualified for ABSA Cup. Looking at Zanaco, Zesco United themselves, of course we do have Nchanga Rangers, Maitem Free Wanderers, Red Arrows, and Warriors. These are the 7 teams that have qualified, and they will be joining other teams. In the National Division 1, we've got 4 teams that have already qualified to ABSA, and 10 teams from provinces, or 10 provinces that have qualified. And for the 10 teams from the provinces, they will play against each other. They will make a draws, and they will play against each other. We'll get 5 teams that will add up with the 7 and the 4 to make it 16 and getting to the knockouts stage of ABSA Cup. And we don't know if it is going to be Zesco United defending it, and they've won it more times than any other team. They're the decorated team in as far as ABSA is concerned. Maitem Free Wanderers are getting into ABSA for the first time, for the second time, but in the Premier League, the time that they've been in the Premier League, this is the first time that they're getting into ABSA. So it's amazing for them anyway, and Nchanga Rangers are upbeat for them to qualify. Cabo Warriors are looking forward to winning this. Red Arrows doing better, and all these other teams. And we could be surprised that even a Division 1 team can do wonders, because we've got a lot of other teams that have qualified from Division 1 that are looking forward to doing this.
Speaking of NAPSA as well, maybe we just forgot to mention as well, they did announce the appointment of a new technical bench in a decisive move, obviously aimed at arresting their difficult 2025-2026 MTN Super League campaign and restoring competitiveness as well.
Yeah.
So the club has confirmed that technical director Tenant Chilumba has assumed the role of head coach, and of course he will be assisted by first assistant coach Zedi Saileti and second assistant coach, of course, Keegan Siabene, while Philip Banda has been appointed as goalkeeper coach.
Yeah.
Is this a great move?
Well, looking at where they are, if you look at the table where Napsa Stars is, they are almost getting into the relegation battle. So obviously, in fact, they are part of the relegation zone because the points are too minimal with the teams that are on the red line, bottom four. They are just closer to there. So I think doing this is a wonderful thing. But I knew about the changes because in Zambia, when you see the technical director, when they bring a technical director to you, that if the coach is not performing up to expectations, you know that changes are underway. So probably changing. TC has been there before, and looking at him, and let's see how it's going to be. And you remember that TC was at Zesco United, and he was appointed at Zesco United.
Yes.
Nobody knew, and then there's some mistakes here and there, some problems that came out, and it was never unveiled, and he left because he wasn't appointed in the right direction or right way of appointments. So that's how he left, and he resurfaced at Napsa Stars. It's a good thing for him, and maybe the good thing for the team. But just as we complete, I know that there's so many other games that will be happening over the weekend. You can just pick a game and go and watch. And of course, we do have the Copper Queens. You were talking about the Copper Queens. Botswana defended very well, just like the coach was saying. They were compact. They defended as a unit. But the coach read the game, and obviously he had to use the wings. And the wings worked, and it happened that we scored 3 goals. We'll be playing on Sunday against Zimbabwe. We have to win. We are the defending champions, Copper Queens. We have to beat Zimbabwe for us to cement our position into the semi-finals. And once we get into the semi-finals, we know that it's very possible for us to defend the title. But one thing that you should understand is Botswana, South Africa, and Zambia are preparing for the WAFCON. These are the 3 teams from COSAFA that have qualified to the WAFCON that will be happening on from March 17th to April 3rd. So Zambia is using this, so South Africa is using this, as well as Malawi. And remember that South Africa played against Malawi, and Malawi were beaten. So Malawi have to pull up their socks. They have to do better, so that their morale and everything is not going to deepen from whatever they're doing. So hope for the best for the Copper Queens on Sunday.
Interesting. It's going to be a jam-packed weekend when it comes to sports. So you definitely have something to look out for in case you're looking for something to do or something to keep you busy this weekend. But thank you so much for coming through and for giving us an update of sports.
It's always a pleasure.
All right. Thank you so much to you, the viewers, for watching. But of course, we did have a great program this morning on a beautiful Friday like this one. We did, lay out a lot of things. We did begin with the headlines that we shaped, national debate. And of course, also looking out for something interesting that will be happening in probably a few minutes or has started happening already. People are gathering. President HAKAINDE HICHILEMA will address Parliament on national values, principles as well, but also we did ask ourselves some questions. Are valued measured by speeches or by consequences? We were joined by Mr. Leslie Chikose, who did interrogate what accountability should look like. We also did have Mr. Ernest Mumba, who did help us to broaden the lens on, the issues to do with governance and politics, as well as things that are happening in our constituencies and how they need to be addressed. Yeah, so we call it a breakfast this morning. I hope that you did enjoy every bit of it. Thank you so much for watching. Please do go to our Facebook page. That is PTV2 Zambia. The conversation still goes on there. You can also look out for some of the stories that we'll be updating you on as the day goes by in our news that will be coming on different slots on this particular day. Thank you so much to you, Carol, for being with us today on our breakfast show. On behalf of the entire production team, my name is RHODA MULENGA, and enjoy your weekend.
Zambia.